And this is the first meeting of the hearing officer for the City of Tempe. My name is Vanessa McDonald. I am the hearing officer. I'll be conducting this hearing this afternoon. I'm going to go ahead and read something into the record before we jump into our agenda this afternoon. The City of Tempe Hearing Officer is authorized by Arizona Revised Statutes and the City of Tempe Zoning and Development Code. The hearing officer has the duty to carry out the provisions and the intent of the zoning code and the Tempe City Code. The hearing officer is granted the authority to conduct public hearings to decide upon the abatement of code violations occurring on properties within the City of Tempe. Code violations include, but aren't limited to, deteriorated landscaping, inoperable vehicles, deteriorated structures, storage of junk or refuse, or deteriorated swimming pools. Abatement actions are brought before the hearing officer by the city's Code Compliance Division, typically after numerous attempts at contacting the property owner to obtain voluntary compliance with the city code. The hearing officer may issue an order directing the owner, occupant, rental agent, property manager, or other responsible person to abate a code violation, or authorize the city to abate the condition at the property. The cost of such abatement is the responsibility of the owner of the property where the violation occurred and may be collected as an assessment against the property found to be a violation. On today's agenda, we have 6 items. We have a set of minutes from June 15, 2021, and 5 property abatements. Agenda items 4 and 5 have both been withdrawn by code compliance as their properties have now been found to be in compliance with the Tempe City Code. Any property owner who's aggrieved by a decision of the hearing officer may file an appeal within 14 calendar days after the hearing officer has made a decision. As such, the deadline for appealing any decision rendered today is 3 p.m. on July 20th, 2021. Abatement appeals are heard by the Board of Adjustment, after which they may also be appealed to the Superior Court. The property owner has 14 days to either file an appeal or bring their property into code compliance. If neither of these things happen by this date, meaning the July 20th date, the property will be abated by the City of Tempe. Joining me this afternoon from Community Development are Shelby Meyer and Drew Yoakum. They're here virtually, of course, just as we all are. The first item on our agenda, as I mentioned before, is a set of minutes from June 15th, 2021. I had a chance to review the minutes in the packet that I was given from staff, and I believe that they accurately reflect what took place at that hearing. So I'm going to go ahead and approve the minutes from June 15th, 2021. Next up on the agenda is a request for abatement of public nuisance items at the HALE property. This property is located at 2108 East Yale Drive. The applicant is the City of Tempe, represented this afternoon by Inspector Julie Schofield. Ms. Schofield, are you there?
Yes, Madam Hearing Officer, Julie Schofield with the City of Tempe Code Compliance, and I'm here today to ask for a 180-day open abatement for the property located at 2108 East Yale Drive here in Tempe. This property case has been open since January of 2021, and it was regarding a complaint that was received for lawn parking and unregistered vehicles. This property owner has continuously had at least 4 unregistered vehicles in the driveway. Several notices were mailed to the owner, and also ending up issuing a citation back in February for the unregistered vehicles. This case was actually going to go to hearing for May 18th, but however, I received another complaint for the backyard at this time, and the complaint was for junk and debris, overhigh grass and weeds, and there was also more unregistered vehicles in the backyard as well. And so notices went out regarding the front yard that was still continuously in violation but also the backyard to include junk and debris, trash, and the unregistered vehicle. They are allowed to have up to 2 unregistered vehicles in the backyard. However, the property owner at this address currently has 3. When I went by today, I do have some pictures to present.
Thank you. I'd like to see them. Okay.
Okay, so these are the 4 vehicles that have been continuously in violation, but also we would like to touch up on the landscaping in the front yard as well as the backyard. And you'll see in the next picture, the trees, there's some grass and weeds in the gravel. It needs to be raked. It just needs some tidying up. And this is currently another vehicle that showed up as of today on the property that is expired as well, and it's not with the other vehicles because it's actually considered lawn parking, which is another violation of the nuisance codes. And then I do have pictures of the backyard as well. This is showing you the overhigh grass and weeds and junk and debris that are currently, as of today, that have not been cleaned up. And the last picture will show that there is, in fact, 3 vehicles, and it's hard to see, but there's one in the way back far end there. So we would tow at least 1 from the backyard and 5 vehicles from the front yard, as well as pick up any junk and debris and landscaping issues. I have received 3 complaints regarding this property. The last one was June 10th of this year. So as I stated before, I would like to request a 180-day open abatement for the junk and debris, unregistered vehicles, and deteriorated landscaping.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Schofield. What has been the response from the property owner? Have you had any dialogue with the property owner?
There has been absolutely no communication with the property owner.
So then I guess it's probably a formality to ask Mr. Yoakum, is the property owner on the line this afternoon or any other member of the public?
No, we've had no communication at this time.
Well, based on your presentation, based on the photographs that I was given, which were taken, I believe in the middle of May, and the fact that there's been 0 response from the property owner, and the property has only gotten worse in the time that you've been inspecting it, I'm going to go ahead and grant your 180-day open abatement request contained in CE 210006. Thank you. The next request is abatement of public nuisance items at the O'Connor property. This is located at 6818 South Terrace Road. Again, the applicant is the City of Tempe, represented by Julie Schofield. Ms.
Thank you again, Madam Hearing Officer. This is a case for the property address at 6818 South Terrace Road here in Tempe. The violations are an unregistered vehicle in the driveway. It had originally started with other violations such as junk, trash, and debris, and a lawn parking and a broken garage door. However, the owner has taken care of everything except for this vehicle. Several notices were mailed, and also a citation was issued back in April. But the unregistered vehicle is still there as of today. So, like I said earlier, I would like to ask for 180-day open abatement just for the towing of the vehicle.
Which one is unregistered?
Oh, so these are my pictures that I'd like to present, and it would be the one on the left, the truck, the Nissan truck that is unregistered, and here is the plate to show the expired tag.
It's been almost a year expired, so not like a month over into the expiration period.
Yeah.
So, okay. So they've done largely what they've been supposed to do, with the exception of registering that vehicle. So if they're paying attention to this hearing at all, and Drew, I'm sorry, Mr. Yoakum, is there anyone on the line, the property owner, that you're aware of?
Not at this time, no.
So this one is kind of puzzling to me, because I suspect by the time we would tow away the vehicle, they'd pay whatever fees they owe the city to get the car back. That may be less than the actual registration fee of the vehicle. I'm not sure. My hope would be that perhaps they're listening this afternoon, understand the process, and within the 2-week period after this hearing, during which they can appeal or register the vehicle, that they would opt to do so. But in any event, they've not done what they're supposed to do. It's pretty obvious, the evidence speaks for itself, that they need to register the vehicle. So I'm going to go ahead and grant the 180-day open abatement that you have in case number CE 211136. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
As I mentioned before, agenda items 4 and 5 have been withdrawn by code compliance. Those properties are now compliant with the Tempe City Code. So we're on to agenda item number 6. This is a request for abatement of public nuisance items at the Nelson property. This property is located at 6736 South Kenneth Place. The applicant is the City of Tempe, represented again this afternoon by Ms. Julie Schofield.
Thank you, Madam Hearing Officer. Julie Schofield again with Code Compliance Inspector for the City of Tempe. And this property is located at 6736 South Kenneth Place. This case has been open since January of 2021 for an unregistered Kia parked in the driveway that expired July of 19. Several notices were mailed, and citation was issued back in April. I have had contact with the owner, and basically she was trying to make good faith in complying with the vehicle, but as of today, that vehicle is still in the driveway. There was another complaint for her landscaping and junk and debris, and you will see in my pictures that there's some small items as far as the landscaping, but this is the front of the property, and the red van is the vehicle in question that's expired. But we would also take care of the landscaping and pick up any junk and debris that is scattered. And there's the plate that is expired.
Right.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to get. And then so I would like to ask for a 180-day open abatement to clean up the small amount of landscaping and junk and debris, and also have the unregistered vehicle towed.
Thank you, Mr. Yoakum. Is there anyone here this afternoon, either a neighbor or property owner, wanting to speak on this agenda item?
For this agenda item, not at this time, no.
Thank you. Well, based on the photographs as you presented this afternoon and the current condition of the property, I agree that it needs to be remediated. So I'm going to go ahead and grant the 180-day open abatement request that you have outlined in case CE 210408. Thank you, Ms. Schofield.
Thank you.
We are now to agenda item number 7. This is a request for abatement of public nuisance items at the CHUNXIANG XU property. This property is located at 2244 East Apache Boulevard, and the applicant is the City of Tempe, represented this afternoon by Marvin White. Mr. White, are you there?
Yes, thank you, Madam Hearing Officer.
Good afternoon.
My name is Marvin White. I'm a Code Compliance Inspector with the City of Tempe Code Compliance Division. And I'm here this evening requesting a 180-day open abatement for the property located at 44 East Apache Boulevard. The case was initiated on April 9th, 2021. The property is in violation with graffiti, overgrown weeds, trash, and debris on the property, and that needs to be taken care of. I have received a. I did when I initially visited the property. I noticed that these things had been a continuous problem, so photos were taken and violation notices were sent out to the property owner on record.
And did they respond at all, the property owner?
No, no one responded at that time. Also, I visited the property again on May of 2021 and noticed that there was no changes. So I sent out a second and final violation notice to the property owner on record. Also, I visited the property again on the 28th. And at that time, still, there was no change and no contact from the property owner. So at that time, I posted a notice of intent to abate the property.
Okay. These photographs show it in pretty bad shape.
Yeah, it's in pretty bad shape, and yeah, I got several photographs of overgrown weeds, trash, debris, and a partially burnt out building that happened on the property as well. I did visit the property again on June of 29th of 2021, and there was still no change to the property. And as of July 2nd, I did receive contact from the friend of the property owner about the property, and they were advised what needs to be done to bring the property into compliance. They stated that they would take all the means necessary to bring the property into compliance. I also received an email and contact phone number from the property owner, Mrs. CHUNXIANG XU, stating that they would like to bring the property into compliance, and they were not aware of the property had any issues. But correspondence was sent out to the owner on record at that time that the property had issues.
Are they out of state?
Yes, they are out of state. I believe they're in Minnesota. I believe that's what she said.
Hope they'd be out of state, because it's kind of hard to to understand that they wouldn't have any idea that the property had issues if they were here local. So thank you for the photographs. Thank you for the update of the property as it stands today. Mr. Yoakum, is there any member of the public wanting to speak on this item or the property owner?
Yes, Madam Hearing Officer, we have two attendees right now, and I believe one of them is speaking on behalf of the property owner.
Okay, then I'm ready to hear that testimony. I don't have a name in front of me, so if you are here and you're wanting to speak on this agenda item, if you can state your name and city of residence for the public record, then you can go ahead and make your comments.
CHUNXIANG XU.
Excuse me?
I'm sorry, this is Ben Wan. I represent the owner of that property.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wan.
Thank you for invite. So we just aware of the situation after we received a hearing notice from the court. We weren't aware of the finding or the complaint until much later. So we're in touch with Mr. White, and we also left a couple messages to the land management team, the companies, although we didn't hear them back. So we also understand that you may have already posted some job in the public to clean up the property. So we just want to say, with this, we have no experience to how to proceed, but follow what's the best from the city.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Wan. I understand that the property owner is out of state, correct?
Correct. We all live in Minnesota, Plymouth, Minnesota.
Okay, so you are, I will admit, at a slight disadvantage in that you live somewhere else and not where this property is located. But it sounds like you've made an attempt to contact a property management company, someone who can manage this property in your absence, which I think is a terrific idea. This hearing is to allow the city to go in and clean up the property.
Okay.
There would be an expense involved, but it would not be an immediate expense. It would be an expense that would be assessed against the property at the county assessor's office. So it would be a lien on the property. So if and when the property owner would go to sell this property, that lien would be satisfied at that time, or they could satisfy the lien anytime before then. So that's one avenue, letting the city do its thing, which this hearing, which I would give them the authority to do at this hearing. I don't know if you were on the hearing when it very first started, but I read into the record the procedure that says, if I render a decision today granting the city the ability to clean up this property, that doesn't take place for 2 weeks. So from today, you would have 2 weeks to hire someone to bring the property into compliance. And then the city would not abate the property for you.
Understood.
So I think you're in a good position. As long as you have that open dialogue with Mr. White, he can give you more information about the process. If you're able to get a hold of that property management company, hopefully they can get out there within the next 2 weeks. And if not, then the city will go ahead and clean up the property and bring it into compliance, because I think we probably would all agree that it needs to be cleaned up. It's just a matter of when and by whom that needs to happen.
Understood. Yeah, I agree.
Well, thank you. So hopefully the property management company will get a hold of you. And I'm hoping, Mr. White, I'm encouraging you to stay in contact with Mr. Wan. I'm hoping that you've shared contact information.
Yes,
so
we did.
That you can help guide him, Mr. White, through the next 2 weeks. Mr. Yoakum, was there someone else on the property or on the line wanting to provide input, or was it also the property owner?
It was also the property owner. So
Okay.
I think at this time you're good to proceed.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for your input, Mr. Wan. Thank you for your interest in getting this resolved. Based on the photographs that I've seen today and the communications over the past several months regarding this property, I am going to go ahead and approve Mr. White's application contained in CM 21-210-513. But again, encourage you guys to stay in communication so that you guys can get this property cleaned up in the next 2 weeks, one way or another.
Thank you, Madam Hearing Officer.
Thank you. Have a good evening. This brings us to agenda item number 8. This is a request for abatement of public nuisance items at the CUPP property. This property is located at 226 East Pebble Beach Drive. The applicant is the City of Tempe, represented this afternoon by Ashley Nichols. Ms. Nichols, are you on the line?
Yes, Madam Hearing Officer.
Thank you.
My name is Ashley Nichols, and I'm a Code Compliance Inspector with the City of Tempe Code Compliance Division, and I'm here this evening to request an open 180-day abatement for the property located at 226 East Pebble Beach Drive here in Tempe. It was initiated in November of 2020 from a complaint we received for inoperable and unregistered vehicles, as well as junk, trash, and debris items. When I went out to the property, I did determine that there was a vehicle with flat tires and a lot of items around. I have issued notices to the property owner and granted them a lot of time to comply. As of today, the vehicle still remains with the flat tires as well as the junk, trash, and debris items. They were also issued 2 citations and failed to appear for both. I have had one brief conversation with the property owner on June 4th while posting the notice of intent to abate, just asking if they understood what needed to be done to bring the property into compliance. And he stated he did and planned on having it done, but as of today, the car still remains as well as the items. And I do have some photos that were taken today.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The reddish colored car is the one that has the flat tires. And then, and he was outside. And then there's several items all around the front of the property that they have.
Is this abatement for the backyard as well?
Just the front yard.
So when he was there, when he saw you taking the photographs, did he give any indication that he would resolve this within the next couple weeks, or was there any dialogue this morning?
No, he didn't seem interested in having any more communication with me.
Well, thank you. Mr. Yoakum, is there anyone on the line this afternoon, either the property owner or another member of the public wanting to speak on this agenda item?
No, we've had no communication at this time.
Thank you. Well, Ms. Nichols, thank you for the presentation. Thank you for the up-to-date photographs. I completely agree with your assessment that the property needs to be cleaned up and the vehicles need to be removed so that we can bring this property into compliance with the Tempe City Code. So I'm going to go ahead and approve the 180-day open abatement request that you have contained in CE 206855. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Hearing Officer.
You're welcome. That concludes our agenda for this afternoon. Staff, do we have any announcements?
Yes, Madam Hearing Officer. Our next scheduled meeting for the hearing officer is actually on July 21st, which is a Wednesday, a little bit different than our normally scheduled Tuesdays. But that will still be on Tempe 11 and WebEx. Okay, still virtually. Yes. Okay, great. Thanks for giving me a heads up on that. I would have probably been ready on Tuesday. No worries. So, well, thank you for your help, everyone. We'll see you in a couple weeks on July 21st. The meeting's adjourned. Thank you.